Concerned Djokovic prepares for Australian Open semi-final after Sinner demolishes De Minaur live. Sinner booked his place in the semi-finals with a 6-3, 6-2, 6-1 victory over Australia's De Minaur. Jannik Sinner joined Novak Djokovic and Alexander Zverev in the semi-finals of the Australian Open when he demolished home favourite Alex De Minaur 6-3, 6-2, 6-1 at the Rod Laver Arena. Sinner, who had won every meeting between the two players before this one, was in complete control throughout the match and broke the Australian's will with a mix of heavy hitting and pinpoint accuracy from the baseline. It was a stark contrast to the Italian's performance against Holger Rune on Monday when he battled through illness and niggles to get into the last eight. De Minaur had dropped just one set on his way to the quarter-finals, in a tiebreak against Francisco Cerundolo, and looked in good touch before meeting the world number one. Sinner will now face Ben Shelton after the American fought off a Lorenzo Sonego comeback to clinch their quarter-final clash 6-4, 7-5, 4-6, 7-6, 7-4. Earlier in the day, Iga Swiatek cruised past Emma Navarro 6-1, 6-2 in their women's singles quarter-final, while Madison Keys secured a surprising 3-6, 6-3, 6-4 victory over Elina Svitolina to set up a meeting with Swiatek tomorrow. The Australian Open quarter-finals are underway, with the opening Grand Slam of the season bursting with storylines as the second week of the tournament progresses. Jannik Sinner and Aryna Sabalenka return as defending champions, and both world number ones remain the favourites to defend their titles. The opening Grand Slam of the season kicks off another blockbuster tennis year. Jannik Sinner's clinical deconstruction of Alex De Minaur was a lesson in class. Jannik Sinner continued his quest for consecutive Australian Open titles with a clinical deconstruction of Alex De Minaur in the last of the men's singles quarter-finals. Rarely in professional sport is one person so visibly better than their opponent in every aspect of play than this. Serves, second serves, movement, accuracy, and ball striking all favoured the 23-year-old, who put in a display that validated his ranking as the best tennis player in the world, not that he needed to. The world number one was victorious in his quarter-final 6-3, 6-2, 6-1 and moved a step closer to another Australian Open title. When Carlos Alcaraz saw his great rival Novak Djokovic limp off the court towards the end of the first set of their blockbuster Australian Open quarter-final, the 21-year-old admitted to feeling a sense of relief. Alcaraz's experience of the Olympic final at Roland Garros, where Djokovic raised his level to win that elusive gold medal last summer in a hugely emotional defeat for the young Spaniard, ensured he needed no reminder of how fearsome an opponent the 37-year-old remains when fully fit. Alcaraz revealed he made a big mistake in a blockbuster Australian Open quarter-final as Djokovic battled from a set down to win 4-6, 6-4, 6-3, 6-4. Carlos Alcaraz admitted that he made a big mistake in his Australian Open quarter-final defeat to Novak Djokovic when he saw his opponent was struggling with injury during the second set. Djokovic managed to battle from a set down to reach a 12th Australian Open in a vintage display from the 37-year-old, but Alcaraz said he let the Serbian back into the match by taking his foot off the gas in the second set. Djokovic was injured in the first set and took a medical timeout before coming back to win in 4 sets. Novak Djokovic has revealed that he was almost forced to retire from his epic quarter-final win over Carlos Alcaraz at the Australian Open. Djokovic secured victory in a thrilling last 8 clash in 4 sets, fighting back from a set down while battling an injury. The 24-time Grand Slam champion took an injury timeout at the end of the first set as Alcaraz nudged in front and appeared in severe discomfort, but roared back to take the match in a vintage performance. The 24-time Grand Slam champion fought through the issue to complete a 4-set victory over Alcaraz. Paula Badosa ended Coco Gauff's winning run to reach her first Grand Slam semi-final at the Australian Open. The American third seed arrived in Melbourne as the most in-form player on tour after winning the WTA finals to end last season and then all 5 singles matches at the United Cup, including a clash against Iga Swiatek. She went into the clash with 11th seed Badosa on a 13-match winning streak, but it was the Spaniard who came out on top in a 7-5, 6-4 victory. The Spaniard triumphed 7-5, 6-4 at Melbourne Park to reach her first Grand Slam semi-final. Emma Navarro called for a change in the rules after a controversial moment during her Australian Open quarter-final loss to Iga Swiatek. The second seed continued her romp through the draw with a 6-1, 6-2 victory to set up a meeting with Madison Keys. The only real moments of pressure came early in the second set and particularly at 2-2 on the Swiatek serve, when the Pole won the game after umpire Eva Astarakimor failed to spot that the ball had bounced twice before Swiatek got to a short ball. A double bounce call against Swiatek was missed by the umpire in her 6-1 6-2 victory. Iga Swiatek continued her romp through the Australian Open draw with a quarter-final victory over Emma Navarro. The Pole's 6-1 6-2 win means she has dropped just 14 games so far in 5 matches, a feat bettered under the current format by only Maria Sharapova, Monica Seles, and Steffi Graf. But there was controversy after umpire Eva Astarakimor did not spot a double bounce at a crucial moment in the 5th game of the second set. The Pole has lost only 14 games in her first 5 matches at Melbourne Park. Honestly, I felt like I was controlling the match, and I let him get into the match again. I'm going to say that was the biggest mistake that I made today. In the second set I had to play a little bit better just to push him even more to the limit. He had issues just moving a little bit in the second set. I had to push him a little bit more just to the limit, and I didn't. After that, I think he started to feel better and playing such a great level. That was my biggest mistake today. But obviously when Novak is at this level, it's really difficult. I think I had my chances. It was a really close match. I think most of the crucial points went to his side. When Novak is playing at this level, it's really difficult to find the way. Novak Djokovic is now through to his 50th Grand Slam semi-final and his 12th Australian Open semi-final. He's only lost one Australian Open semi-final, and that was last year to Jannik Sinner. A 25th Grand Slam title, which would give him the outright singles record, remains possible, but he could face Sinner in the final.